Hey guys, how's it going? Got something a little different this time around. We have a gas-powered drill. This has a little bit of history behind it. I guess Jimmy Diresta bought it at a flea market. I think he said New Hampshire. And he played with it a little bit, couldn't really get it to run. And put it on the back burner and kicked it over to Hand Tool Rescue. And he did a restoration on it, took it apart, cleaned it up, and did some painting and all. But had a hard time getting it to stay running. So he contacted me and said, would you like to try have a go at it to see if you can troubleshoot what the issues are? I said, sure. I figured it would make for a good video. So I figure we'll get into it and see if we can figure out what's wrong. So without further ado, let's give her. Alright, so as far as I understand, it's a 22cc model airplane engine is what is powering it. And I know in his video he did a diaphragm on the carburetor. And I'm not sure what else other than the cosmetic parts of it as far as mechanicals of getting it running. I would say probably maybe we should go and it looks like it's missing a fuel line. Maybe we put some fuel in. I see a fuel line there. I thought I saw an open somewhere though. That right there. That'd be a return. See if we see another port on that carburetor anywhere. I do not see one. Hey, let's see if we can get it propped up in the vise with some something by the handle to support it and see what we can do. I figure maybe we'll dribble a little fuel in the plug hole and we'll just get it to make sure it fires over. It's just two-stroke gas. No spray bottle. Let's see. I don't know if it has an on-off switch. I would think it would somewhere, right? Let's see what we get. Full start doesn't go back. Well, I guess we got to get into that. Let's get the. We could probably take the handle right off, take the pull start off, and maybe use a drill for cranking it over. I got the screws out of it. The throttle cable's connected up into the handle, so we may just leave that if we can work ourselves around that. Yeah, we can. Good. Alright. I would say that I should be able to come on an angle maybe with an extension and get on that screw. Let me get a setup for that, see if we can spin it up. I still think I'm going to have to move that handle out of the way, but let's see if we can kind of cockeyed it. Yeah, it's not very smooth. I'm going to take a screw out of the handle, see if we can get the handle to kick to the side a little. Worst case, we'll just get it out of our way. Happens to be the case of one thing's in the front of everything else, so we're just going to dig. I'm going to take the gas tank off. And then once we get the gas tank off and get the handle off, and get in a little closer. The governor setup doesn't feel like it's set up right neither, so I think we're going to have to look into that part of it. Alright, are we clear yet? Where's that guy? It's got one fuel line connected to it. We have another line down here. That's the other one that I was seeing. So that looks like it should be a return because it's high, and that should be the draw. But again, I haven't found the other intake part of it yet. And what do we got? Probably a couple screws coming this way. Yep. You guys are remembering how this goes back together, right? Counting on you. Somebody has to remember it. Not quite sure where that goes. It fell out of the inside of the tubing. It's probably for the throttle. I have a feeling it's probably going to be a throttle return spring. So I got that out of the way. This is the governor, the fan governor or vane governor, how it was sitting in there. Not quite sure what that was supposed to attach to. That's your throttle right there. I don't know. How that was. You figure it would rotate that way, should slow it down, that way should speed it up, and that should be, not sure which way is idle, and that screws run all the way in too. I don't know if we can get that out of there. We'll let her be. Look a little further. Alright, so it took a couple of seconds to eyeball what's going on, and this is the throttle right here, and the vane, the governor vane, drops right into the center of it, and it just wasn't in there. So it looks like it's a little beat up and kind of bent up. We may have to do some doctoring on that, but it seems a little bit better. Before it was just kind of flopping around. It may have just fell out of there too when I took the tin apart and I just didn't catch it. So that should be okay. I think we should probably go with, maybe we'll put a spark checker on it. We'll get a better setup on a drill, spin, see what we have for spark, or even just pull the plug out, see what we have for spark. Go from there, confirm that, and then get into more troubleshooting. Alright, that's better. We got the plug out of it, and I got, now I'm able to get rid of the extension on the drill, so we should be able to have a better, smoother. That spark came and went. I don't know if you guys are able to see that. That spark is not maintaining. Possibly the condenser is not screwed down. That may be an issue. Let me go grab a pair of needle nose pliers. We'll kind of clip that to make sure it has ground. I should put a jumper wire on it. Let's see if that makes any difference for us. Nah, it's still intermittent. That's coming and going. That's not good. Well, it may be good in the fact that it may be what's causing an issue too. Let's see. Kind of figure out where that's going. Try grounding one other place. Let's try grounding right to the coil, or screw on the coil anyway. Nope, nothing. So that's kind of acting like a dirty set of points. I would think this has points in it. I'm not positive of that, so I think we should probably take that cover off, the flywheel off, and see if it does. Let's see if a little gentle persuasion will help it. There we go. I do not see any. I do see a cover here though. It might be underneath that cover. Yeah, I'm betting on under here. Let's see if yeah, there we go. They seem like they're opening. I don't know what the gap is going to be on this. It seems kind of small, but it is opening. I say we drag a file across that and we clean them up. Just drag a file across those, clean them up, put the flywheel back on, and try it again. Yeah, let's see if we can get a couple of scratches across that. The other part is too, it doesn't have a wire going to the set of points, but it does have this post right here. So there's probably a wire going to this post, and then this is the area it's getting the signal from. I just pop the bushing out of it. So I want to clean that anyway. Sure that doesn't have an issue. That's better. And let's look at that surface. Yeah, you can see it was kind of cruddy. I'm gonna go clean those up. Both of those up. We'll reassemble that, put the flywheel back on, give her another spin. So while I'm in that far, I figured I'd go just a little bit further, and we'll take the points right out. Clean. I don't want to lose that plastic bushing right there. Isolator, insulator, isolator. Same thing. Because the points can't touch the ground. The rest they won't do anything. Could be an open-close signal. And we're gonna go and I'm going to work on that a little bit. Get them both ready to go. Alright, so I got those cleaned, filed, took some brake cleaned them off. When I had it removed, there was a bunch of oil underneath where the points were, and that's one thing that they do not like, is having that on there. And it also looked like the point gap was fairly tight on that. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but a lot of points are going around 16 or so. So I'm going to try setting it at that. This is a 16 on here right now. It's still a little... open it up a little. The screw should probably have a washer on it. It's probably going to move when I tighten it. It feels pretty good. Alright, so let's go get the cover back on there, get the flywheel back on, give it a spin, see what we get. One other thing before I put the flywheel on I noticed is, I don't know how well that seal is, that crank seal. And if you get a leak on the crank, it will cause lean condition too. I also see some rub marks on the bottom of that. Like it's been coming down and resting on the seal. Seems like a fairly decent amount of end play on that crank. So we're gonna just make a mental note of that for in the future. If and when we get it running, that might be an issue. Did that have a washer on it? Did not. These threads look a little chewed. Alright, let's back you up. See if we get spark back again. pretty consistent. I don't know if you guys, I don't know if the camera's picking it up or not. Yeah, still kind of intermittent. Let's try another plug. Yeah, let's go see what this guy does. That looks pretty good. I like that. All right. Let's go give it a little bit of squirt down the intake. See if we can maybe do both of them at the same time. That'll run. It's taking the nut off though. Let me see if I can do something on the flywheel to help hold that down. So what's happening is, as soon as the engine starts up, it spins faster than what the drill does. So of course, now the nuts, instead of trying to get tightened, it's trying to back the nut off, and that's what happened on the last one. So I got a lock washer underneath there. I was kind of hoping I could find a jam nut for that so that it doesn't want to go ahead and do that, but I did not have one in my stash. I can go out to the hardware store and go get one, but I think we're going to give it one more try with a lock washer under there. I just don't want to damage the threads on the crank is what my concern is. So let's go and give her a little dribble of fuel. We'll see how that does. And I guess if we get it back to the run condition, we could probably fix the pull start, put the pull start back on. Let's see how. Gotta get a better drill too. Yeah, let's try it with electric. Fuel bottle right in there, see if you can kind of feather some fuel as soon as I find the intake. Well, I must say that is the cheapest I have ever gone to Home Depot and walked out of there spending 6 cents. I was hoping I could find the jam nut. It's a quarter 28 thread. Thought I would have had something here, but I did not. And neither did Home Depot, so. The regular hardware store was already closed at 4 o'clock on a Saturday. So we have to no longer put a drill on that. I'm afraid of taking out the end of the crank, so we need to look into probably that pull start, see if we can get that thing to retract and start working correctly, and we can put that on top and use that for the start. I get the last of the 4 screws to take out. Watch the thing just explodes. I have a feeling probably the spring, the end of the spring, broke off and spun around. Let's see. Get out of the whole assembly. That is broken away from that. You see it? So that's why it's not recoiling. You should be able to pick that guy out of there. And it's probably about 3 inches long or so. So hopefully we can. Yeah, it broke right at the end. So I am going to need to take that guy and rebend a new end on it and see if we can get that captured in there. Unfortunately, when we do that, we're probably going to do the patoing kind of deal. The inside one looks kind of funky too. Let's just see. I should probably take something to kind of clamp this together without it exploding on us. It's really not that big of a deal if it lets go, but I prefer not to. Let's see if we can pick out that last one. Get enough room to work with. And we need to bend it. Where's the piece I took out? So we need to go get into there. So we need to bend back this way, correct? So let's see. It was actually kind of a double bend too. I don't know if we're going to accomplish that, but let's try one first. Uh-oh, slipping. I might need... Let's try the ground down part of the vice grips. That will be the first half. I don't go too far, it's going to snap if I go too far. And then we want to go, that's what we're trying to reproduce, right? So, actually, that one was bent the other way. Yeah, should have been bent the other way. Let's snap that guy off. Try again. Because you know that's not going to hold up. Then again, maybe it will. Alright, let's go this way. Really? I think I am going to bring you back so that I can look underneath the scope when I'm doing this instead of trying to be on an angle to the camera. I think it's just too brittle. See if we can get some heat on it. Lose some of that temper. And now we say we have to go inward with it. That's going to be a little warm. Now we need to go backwards with the whole thing. I can grab it right there. Hopefully it's soft enough to stay. I think we need to grind some of that away. I think I made a little on the long side. See if I can squish it together without it snapping. Because that needs to fit in there. It's looking a little on the long side. See if we can get that together though. Yeah, I put up a little bit of a fight, but we got it. We're tucked up inside there. Now we just got to get it all back together again. So it was you need to go inside there. Catch the center of that guy without launching it across the room. I think I got it. There we go. And that's will I be able to wind that up? Will there be enough room to clear like a feet around it? Sometimes what they do is they drill a little hole on the side there where the string can kind of stand up. You can spin it around as many times as you want to get the tension on it. We're going to have to turn it that way, or can we just turn? Can you turn the whole assembly to put tension on it? All right. Yeah. That's what we need to do. Without exploding it. We don't need that. It's just enough to... Messing up the paint. Good thing he's going to restore it after that, huh? What do you think? Oh, hold on there. Stop shaking. One more time. I think we're good. Screw that back together. So we got that back together. The only problem is I forgot which way this was indexed of the 4 positions, but there's nothing saying that we can't just take those 4 screws out later on and we just clock it to what we need. I just don't recall. Slacker. New guy, you know. Alright, so I got my fuel bottle hooked up to the fuel line. Just peed a little bit out of there. So let's see if we just get a pulsar, see if we get her to go. There you go, we're getting something out of it. Where's that peeing out of? The fuel line's got a crack, a hole in it. Let's see, this one is the choke. Let's give it a little bit of choke. Alright, well, we'll know it'll run. That's a good sign. Let's start buttoning some of the stuff up, and I think we're going to be zeroing in more on fuel now. So I want to get the condenser bolted down, get some of the tins back on it, repair that fuel line, and see if we can do more of the same. Hook the throttle up too. So I had this spring fall out of the handle. I took the handle apart, and it looks like it's just a return spring for the throttle. And see, probably go just something like, actually probably up behind it, right? And then that screw goes through that handle there, and that's the return for it. So I'm going to screw all that stuff back together and get the handle back on. I apologize for the shaky cam, but I just want to show you a couple of things. So when I went to Home Depot for the nut for the top, unfortunately I had the handle loose and the cable had pulled out, but I wanted to show you how that throttle works. And you can kind of see there. I think you can see the governor changing position, but I lost a clip that goes on right there, I think, and I kind of just held it. So I'm going to try to make up something to replace that. And I just wanted to show this right here. This guy, you click different locations on it, is the different RPMs that the drill can run at. So, you know, if you a larger bit you want to run it slower, and a tiny bit you want to run it faster. And this is what does that. I don't know what the RPMs are, but that's the steps that are on it. And it essentially just has a spring on it, which helps affect more or less the throttle plate, how much more open or closed it goes, and just changes the RPMs. And the fix for it was, I went to my hoard and I found some carb clips, and I went with this one. There's different wire thicknesses and, you know, tensions that are on them. Want a cookie? I got one left. And I just slid one of those guys on each side. Getting too much light on you. One of those on each side, and that should hold our cable, and our throttle can work. Alright, forward, moving forward. Alright, shake the cam again. Just want to show a couple of things. I'm going to try running with the carburetor off, and you can see that the choke's not on. You look past that one, you can see the throttle. You can see the throttle opening in there. And again, that's that speed adjustment on the bottom. That screw right there is the idle speed. And then I see it has an air fuel mix underneath here. And this looks like a prime. This looks like you hold it down. It's probably a prime for the car when you're first starting it. And I know he replaced the diaphragm inside here, so hopefully we don't have to get into the car, but we may. It all depends on when we get it running. So I'm going to try taking that bottle, hooking it back up to it. I'm going to try putting a little bit of pressure in that bottle, though, so it has a little bit of in-feed pressure. I don't want it to be like a straw with your thumb over it, you know, and not allowing a straw with your thumb over it, and you pick it up out of a drink, you know, it stays in there, doesn't want to drain. So I don't want to do that with the bottle having a negative pressure where it won't allow the fuel to go down. So I'm going to try blowing in the straw a little bit, pinching it, and then feed it back into that. Too much information? I think I got it. We'll find out soon if it shoots gas down there or not as soon as we take the vice grips off, right? Let's try. Yeah. The bubbles are going in the right direction, so I'm going to go tape that right there. What do you say we try giving it a shot again? The brass knurl on the carburetor is dripping right now, unfortunately. It's out of gas. Yep, it's out of gas. We can give it a squeeze. Yeah, it starts dripping again. I don't know if we want to go any further. There was something wrong with the governor part of it, and it did look kind of bent up when it was in there. So it doesn't seem like it's returning the throttle all the way. If I could, you know, push on it with my finger, but the governor itself doesn't seem like it was wanting to bounce it back. So I think we should probably take this guy back off again and look into maybe manipulating that plate to something that would look more correct. And then we'll try it again. I get screws out of that guy. Let's get that. Now I know the trick. Hit the throttle, get it off of there. Yeah, so this thing, do you think we should go more counterclockwise? I'm trying to look at it and see if it's got a deformality somewhere. I also want to make sure it just wasn't binding on something too, you know. So the sweep of the cover looks like right there. I wonder if it just doesn't need to be leaned back and in. I wonder if it was rubbing on the cover. I see white on the edge of the lip. I know you guys can't see it. All right. right there. You can see white on the end of it. So I'm thinking that it was hit on the cover. What happens is, you know, this is the fan. As the fan blows across it, the faster it runs, it starts to turn the throttle off. And when it starts to slow down, it starts to give it more throttle. Follow? And that's how it maintains the RPM, you know. And then you fine tune that with that clicker on the bottom. So either this isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing, or the bottom isn't. Just seemed like it was jammed. Because when you work the throttle, it does move it, you know. That's gotta think about that one. I don't like the setup. The whole setup is really sloppy. That thing's kind of goofy, you know. And it's just sitting in there. You pull it right out. I'm sure that the cover probably doesn't allow it to come up so high, but I don't know why you would want to rely on something like that. Well, I do believe I have it figured out. Okay, so this is the throttle, and that is idle, and the more this direction, the more this direction is full throttle. What you saw me earlier, the screw back here was run all the way in. That was the idle speed, but it was run all the way in. So when I backed it out, it allowed it to come back. But the problem is the cable itself acts as the return spring for idle. So if you want it to idle, the throttle cable has to come back far enough to physically push the paddle back all the way. But when I set it up originally, the screw was run all the way in. So I went to idle, which was right where it is now. Follow me? And then when I backed the screw off, not much happened because this cable has to be able to push it that much further. Although now it can move that much further, the cable needs to push it there. So I just need to move these clips, slide that cable in, and that should take care of the revving issue. And the after. Now you can see it's returning all the way to idle. Rev it up, idle, rev it up, idle. Oh, I just wonder if it gets throttle. That might be the other issue, right? From that, it's really not adjustable. Actually, if you squeeze it more, it does go. Just puts a lot of fight. I'm not gonna worry about that. And if you look up top, we're getting a nice move on that governor too. So hopefully I didn't cause another problem, but I did kind of bend it more upward and more straight. So we'll put that on, we'll see if it rubs on the cover or not. Might have screwed it up. I have the choke on. I have the choke on. That's not going to help it. Out of gas. So I think we got it. I get the gas situation fixed, but that should do it. So that guy right there is leaking at the base. I see some epoxy or something that was around it. I have a feeling it's been an issue for a long time. There's a couple things I wanted to show. One was the kill switch is right here. It's that little tab. That guy is just the post on the top of the points, the stud that went down where the wire is. That just goes up and touches that, makes it go to ground, stalls it, And the other one is the gas tank. Well, I was talking about why it had two ends on it, which looked like it had hoses on both ends. Like that one looks like a hose is pulled off of it, right? And what it is, the second one, that one right there, runs up the inside of the tank, is the vent. It goes right to there. It allows air to go back in the tank as the fuel's coming out the other end. Again, it's like, you know, you thumb over a straw, you pick it up out of a drink, it stays there. It has to have air to come back in the top end for it to feed, and that's what that is. So that may have another piece of hose that just kind of ran off to somewhere as you know, a vent line going somewhere. That's it. Hey guys, well, it's getting to that point of the evening where I'm going to wrap it up and go get a bite to eat. And I'm not quite sure how far I'm supposed to be going with this. As far as I understand, it was up to me to get it going, and I have it. Get it going. I got it going. And I know he's going to go and do more restoration on it anyway. He's going to paint the tank and do some other things with it. He's, you know, resoldered it, and I think he may still have a leak in this or not. Two things that are going on is the tank, and again, that brass knurl up there is leaking on the carb. So if I'm supposed to chase this further or not, I'm not quite sure. And I am going to email him tonight. This video is long enough anyway, so if there's going to be a part 2, I'll make a part 2 on it. If not, the part 2 will be back on Hand Tool Rescue's channel, and he will be continuing on. No matter what, he's still going to have more video on this, I do believe, because I ain't painting it. So with that, I think I'm going to go sign off. I want to thank all you guys for coming around and watching and joining in with the conversation. Help me out. So 2 channels to go check is going to be Hand Tool Rescue. I will link the video of his first video restoring this, and then I'll also take Jimmy diresta's video of when he found it, when he was a video with a friend of his launching a ship from I want to say it was 94, 93, 94, something like that, and this shows up inside that video. So those guys, awesome channels, go check them out. This one pretty much is self-explanatory. He takes old eclectic tools, power, hand, all restores them, and mechanically and cosmetically. And Jimmy diresta is an artist with a very eclectic, awesome flair. Hard to describe different people, but awesome stuff. I've been watching him for about 9 months when I got turned on to his channel, and I've been binge watching that also. So go check those guys out. They will be in the description down below. I'll put the links into those. And thanks for coming by, hanging out at the garage with me, turning some wrenches. With that, later.